carrots are growing here. Hey, carrots. How about we take one out? They're too close together. A little carrot. There are bigger ones in there. I didn't want to pick the big ones. I'm going to wash this off and eat it. The clouds, they look like a painting. Floating like that. So serene. Here's the last little eggplants of the season. It's going to get too cold for eggplants very soon. Also this variety. And here. They're not growing as big as they did in the beginning of the season. Well, I found a clump of campanula in the front of my yard that was filled with grass growing through it. It was a big clump. So I dug it out, and I didn't want to just plant it somewhere else with all the grass growing through it, because I'll just transfer all that mess to somewhere else in my garden. So what I did is I pulled apart all the roots, and I'll show you what I did. Actually, I'm gonna pull one root out so that I can show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what the roots came looking like, and that way I was sure that there's no grass in it, and I just distributed them around, and some of them are doing pretty well, still kind of not too bad looking. Yeah, I'm just gonna return this to the soil. They will grow into a plant, and the clump I had crowded itself out and didn't flower so nicely. So I believe that by spreading these roots further apart, they're actually going to flower much better, each one of these. Well, we'll wait and see in the springtime and take a tour then. And this is a little poppy baby. It's actually an offspring of another poppy that I planted 2 years ago. So I just transplanted it to here. And there's another free flower. So plants can be reused. If you can't use the main plant that you had originally planted, you can always take a little shoot from the side and then let that one fill in and fill the space again. And you can do that again and again and again. So you can really recycle your plants. And I'll show you a plant that is the first plant I ever bought from my garden about 16 years ago or 17 years ago. Yeah, before I even started gardening. So I'll get to that one in a bit. There's a combination of two plants here. There is a hydrangea. This is a strawberry cream hydrangea. So it starts white, it gradually, the tips turn pink, And so then you have the strawberry and the cream, and then finally the whole thing goes into the red hues, and then kind of dries out. But the dried heads of the hydrangeas are just beautiful in the fall, and we're going to use them also to do some fall indoor arrangements. So that will be fun. On top of it and intertwined with it is actually a clematis that was supposed to grow just on that fence, but it's a real vigorous clematis. It's called Sweet Autumn, and it has these tiny little white flowers in August that leave a beautiful, real sweet pink seed pods. So what I have to do is when the plant is completely dormant in probably very early spring, I'm going to dig out this hydrangea, and I'm going to pull it out further into the garden, maybe 2 or 3 meters in, to keep it away from that clematis. This is the most vigorous clematis that I had ever seen in my life. It was given to me, tiny little piece of it, by a friend, and I just love it. It is just amazing, covered with little white blooms, just marvelous. So if we're speaking blooms, then the highlight of the blooms in the late parts of the season are the dahlias. So here's another beautifully growing dahlia plant. I really love its habit because the flowers are compact, and I keep deadheading them. And the more that I deadhead the dahlias, the more flowers they produce. So normally I will tour my garden every couple of days, and I bring this with me. So don't be afraid to prune your dahlias and to bring bouquets into your house, because the more you're going to bring bouquets in your house, the more flowers you'll have outside. Isn't that neat? Come with me, I want to show you something up close. Can you see this dahlia with the red flowers? This dahlia came with a collection that I got. It starts down here, and it grew over 6 feet tall. Like a tower. It's a dahlia tower is what it is. And because it gets so tall, the branches keep breaking off. So you can never get a really nice plant out of this. I just wanted to, the flowers are just magnificent. And if you keep cutting them and bringing them in the house, then you'll really enjoy that. But if you want a nice plant, I highly recommend, and I'm going to do it myself from now on. I'm going to look to see that it says compact. Yeah, I'd rather a compact plant. I don't need a dahlia tower. And to struggle and just feel that little, I don't get heartbroken over plants that something goes wrong with them. I mean, it's just a temporary thing anyways. I mean, if something happens, then it happens. I don't want to lose my joy. But it kind of, makes you feel, oh, you see it, it's going to come, it's going to have new blooms, and then they're kind of like broken down and facing, you can see their back end. So, yeah. There's another variety that I have my eye on in Vesi's catalog that says compact. Next time, definitely. I have done some successive planting. In the summertime, I grew onions in this raised bed. And when I took the onions out, I added a little bit of compost and planted these lettuces. So I started the lettuce in a little pot inside and put the little seedlings in the bed in kind of these can grow very big. It's called Paris Island Cos. It's an heirloom, kind of romaine style. I grew these before and they were absolutely gigantic. So, but I grew them last time early spring. So lettuce can stand a lot of cold. You can actually sow the seeds even in the winter time outside towards the end of the winter, or like right when the snow melts. So when there's still frost, and that doesn't bother it. And something is eating, that's because it's still warm enough for all the bugs. As soon as it gets colder and the bugs won't bother it anymore, hopefully it will develop. There's one doing pretty good over there. Actually, one, if it grows well, one is enough to feed us for quite a while. Um, and I have to give the rest away because there's too much lettuce then. So I love lettuce wraps. Last spring I didn't touch bread because everything I put in lettuce and wrapped it. It was really nice. I lost weight and I felt so healthy. Cute baby lettuce. And that cute baby lettuce there is eaten up by bugs, but it's still growing, I hope. Oh well. Have you ever seen a chives jungle? I'm sitting on one. It's right here. And it smells a lot like chives here. This bumblebee is taking a nap. I hope I don't wake it up. Isn't he so cute? This calendula is planting itself in different areas of my garden. I didn't put it there, but it's pretty. And calendula will flower probably the last to flower in the winter or in the fall, in late fall, because it likes the cold. So when everything is dead, these are kind of happy. And if you deadhead the spent blooms, you get more and more and more blooms. And if you pick the flowers and let them dry in a cool ventilated area, then you can soak them afterwards with water and wash your hands, soak your hands in that, or whatever part of your skin you want to soak, and it will be really, really good for the skin. It's medicinal and it makes the skin very smooth. I think people use it if they have psoriasis. I never tried it, but you can look it up if you want. Yeah, you can look up calendula. Weeds! It's still warm, so I'm going to take this advantage to go wash all of my pots. So I'd like to take that advantage to wash all my pots, my indoor pots, for for use indoors next winter, and I can disinfect them with a little bit of bleach and not get all the dirt off here in the yard because well, I'm not going to use the bleach here. I'm going to do the bleach in the kitchen, but I want to get the mud off here because I can't have any mud going down my drains. So before it gets too cold and too late, I just didn't get a chance to get there all summer long, and I really like to store all my stuff perfectly. I call it my gardening store. In my basement I have shelves, and I like to store all of my pots by size and have them neat so that I can get to all my stuff that I don't have to repurchase, because I got them with plants that I bought, or I purchased them years ago and I reused them. So I'm gonna go get on to that, and I'll see you all next time. So if you have any gardening related questions, or any question or comment about anything that you've seen in my garden, then don't hesitate and post it in the comments below. I'll be happy to read them and get back to you. So we'll see you all next time. And don't forget to play, create, and grow. Bye for now.